everyone out there, welcome to Solve It Out. This is Annie here, and today I'm going to build a full stack Contact Us page. You can see here a Contact Us page design that I have created with the input fields like full name, email, and message. There will be validation, that is form validation, without using any third-party library. With simple coding in Next.js app, we will be creating the form and its validation and will submit the data into MongoDB, that is MongoDB Atlas. We are going to store the data here in the MongoDB database from the form. You can see if I click the submit button now, there will be an error message shown in the message text box. Now, if I fulfill the message text box writing something, the error will be gone, but still we are not going to submit this form because the two fields are left till now. So if I click the submit here, you can see it's showing please write valid email. Next, if I write the email here, if I now want to submit, then you can see write the full name. Now this form validation we are going to do without any third-party library. So let me write my name like Annie. And now if I submit, you can see the sending message that it is connecting with the database and it's sending my form data. So you can see the result has already come, that is your details submitted successfully. We will check it in the Mongo database that whether our data is stored here or not. In the Mongo Atlas, I'll browse the collection. And here you can see in the contact database, the form that I have currently submitted is present inside the database with the full name, with the email, and with the message. So this is the full stack mini project that I'm going to do today. Now let's check the tech stack. For the full stack contact form mini project, I'm going to use Next.js as the basic framework for frontend and also will create API, MongoDB Atlas for the database, Typescript for defining the type of variables, reacthooks for the state management, and TailwindCSS for styling the web page. So now let's jump on to the code. Now I have already installed Next.js along with TypeScript and TailwindCSS. You can check here in the package.json. This is the TypeScript and these are the libraries of TailwindCSS. In the index page, I have deleted some of the codes and have kept the head tag and have written here the contact forms. So let me run it first with yarn run dev. This is the basic contact form. You can see here it's running on localhost 3000. Now this contact form div, this is the one that I have created with some normal CSS like grid, place item center, text 5XL, and font railway. This is the basic line that I have written. Now first I'll do the design of the contact us form and then I'll do the state management and Mongo Connect. So let's start with the design. You can see that I have created the form design. It's complete, the design part. You can see the beautiful SVG image is present here. Once again, I am going through the code. In this part, there will be 3 fields, that is a full name field, an email field, and a message field in the contact form. And this is the pic that I have used. It is an SVG picture, and this is the submit button. And these are the styles that I have used. It's Tailwind CSS. Now I want to apply state on this. Each input field will have a state. So I'm going to use useState for defining the value of the input fields. Let me first initiate the useState. Const data send set data send equal to, I'm using useState. I need to import. Got imported. You can see in line 6 that imported. Now, as I'm using TypeScript, I will define here a type named contact fields that will define the useState variables that it going to be present inside the useState. So this contact field I'll create right now. First, let me define the initial contact state. Now this is the way we define the useState in TypeScript. Now first let me create this contact field type. Then I'll create the initial contact state. Now first I want to create a type of contact field. Now here I want to define the data that I want to take from the input field. First data will be a full name. It can be string or undefined. To avoid any error when it's empty, so I'm defining either string or undefined. Next will be email from the input field. It will also be string or undefined. Finally, we're going to take message of input field and with the same type string and undefined. Here I want to take a key, as in to compare the error state I needed a key here. So I will discuss with it later that why I'm using this key. First let me define the type. Now the key, I'll input it as a string. It will be also defined as string or undefined. Now I have defined the contact field. I'll discuss about the key value when I will be doing the error state. Now let me write this initial contact state. Initial contact state is the default value of the use state that will be used when we are not giving any value to the input field. So const initial contact state will follow the type of contact fields. That arrow function It's a typo. I'll write your full name. Next, email. Next will be message. You can see the error is now gone. This is the initial contact state and this is the contact field. The type has been defined. Now let's move on to the error state. Const error set error will use useState. Here also I'm going to define an error field type with an initial error state. Error state will throw on that time when the input field will be empty while you are submitting the form. If any input field remains empty, then you cannot submit the form. So that clause will be checked by the error state. Now here, let me create the type error field. In this error field, it will be of Boolean type. So first, I want to write full name, type Boolean. Next, email, type Boolean. Next, message, also of type Boolean. Now the error field type is done. The initial error state have to be defined. So let's quickly do that. Initial error state will follow error field types and their initial values will be false for each field. Now you can see I have defined the contact field and error field type and their initial state. Now let us first define the value in the input fields. In the value, I'll write data send dot full name. Else it will be an empty string. This is because whenever the form loads in the first time, whenever it's empty, that time it shouldn't throw the error. So it can only throw error when the submit button is clicked. For that change, I have to write here data send.fullname, or it can be the empty string in the value. Next, I want to write another function, another field in the input, that is on blur. In the on blur function, I want to pass set error state. It will keep the track. Whenever the submit button will be clicked, the on blur function will keep a track if the field is empty or the value is present. So I'll create a copy of the error state with the spread operator, and then I'll pass the Boolean true value, that is this one. For the error field, the full name is false right now. If while clicking the button finds out that there is no value, then the full name error state will become true. Next, I want to write the onChange function. Now, inside the onChange function, I want to pass an event where it will take the value and pass to set data send state. I'll keep a copy of data send to spread operator, and I want to pass the event.target value of the full name. So the three functions, that is two function exactly, on blur and on change is done, and the value defined is done. Next, let's move that whenever if the error is true, error state becomes true, then how to know that the error or the user has not fulfilled any of the fields. For that, we need to show a message to them. So after this input field of name, I want to write a condition and show a span class there. That is error dot full name. If error dot full name is valid, and one more condition to check, that is there no data send dot full name present, then I want to show a span class consisting a text, that is please write your full name. Want to give some CSS to the span class? Let us quickly give that. Will be write mx6 my2. Text, I wanted it to be pink 500, and text size will be small. Here I have defined the error state of the full name. Next, let us go to the email field. Here also I want to copy some of the functions, that is this three function. You can say two function including the value. I want to copy here, and I will be pasting here inside the input field of email. I'll be quickly changing the full name to email. Now, this is the function for email. I have written the value set data send.email. I've changed the error state to email true if there is an error, and on change I have sent the data to email. Next, for the error message, I want to copy this one and paste below the input field for email. Here, let me first remove the full name and change it with email. Please write valid email. Now for email, I will check one more condition, that is I'll apply here regex and will check the email type whether it is correct or not. So here With data send, not data send.email, I want to apply an or operator and want to put the regex value. With the regex value, I'll apply here dot test and will pass data send dot email. This value will check the email type, that is whether the pattern written is correct or not. So if there is error or there is no data or there is a wrong pattern for email, then it will show this error message. Next, I will go to the message and I want to copy here those two functions and the value. I want to paste here. We'll remove the email with message. The onBlur and onChange function is done. And also want to write the error state. So let me copy the full name, error1, and after the text area for message, want to paste it. We'll change this quickly to message. And also we'll change the error message. Now our inputs fields functions are completed. Let's write the button function, that is the onClick function. Inside onClick, I want to write a function name, that is handle submit. Now before defining this function, I want to write outside this div some messages which I'm going to handle a bit later. But first I want to write this style here. Now I'll define a variable, or you can say a state, named status. If the status will be true, then I will want a text here that is sending. Now here I'll define the CSS quickly with a class name, the margin top and down 8, text center, size will be XXL, text white, a little transition, then ease in and out, and the duration of 300. So this one is done. Another I want to show, that is if there will be a success result, then I want to show that success message. So here also I'll write a condition with a success state that I'll define. I want to add a div here if success is present. With the class name, want to give a text color, margin and text center, also a text size. Now the value will be result. Also, I want to apply a condition inside the CSS. Let me add braces for that. Also remove the quotes with backticks. And put a conditional CSS here. If the success is present, that is, the result is successful, then I want the text color to be sky. Sorry, here it will be question mark. If not, then I want the text to be pink 500. Yeah. Now the conditional CSS is done. The status, success, and result I will be defining now along with handle submit. Let's first write down the state variables. Then I'll define the function. First, I want to write the status. I'm taking useState for this. This will be of Boolean type. So after defining useState, I'll define its type, that is Boolean, and then the initial state will be false. Next, I want to take the state of success. So for success and set success, we'll take a useState, type Boolean, and the initial of false. Next, the result state. The result state will consist the message that will be derived from the API. So the message will be of string type. So I'm going to define here as string inside the use state. String type, and the initial will be empty string. Now I have defined the types. You can see here the errors are gone. The handle submit is left, which I am defining right now. So const handle submit. It will be an async function, as we'll call the API here. So I'll write here async. We'll take an event, define its type with any. The fat arrow function, and here I'll start the function with e.prevent default value. It will prevent from the refreshing the page. Next, I'll write set error and will pass inside the initial error state. We'll define one variable, that is as error is equal to false. Here I'll map out the error state with the key object that I have defined inside contact field. You can see here with this key array that will consist only string values, I'll map through the data send object, and if I found out any error field or there is any field which is not filled up, then I'll return the error and it will show here inside this error message. So let me write down the code. It will become more easy to understand. Next, I'll write await object.keys initial error state dot map here. I'll check if data send passing the error variable equal to empty string or data send error is equal to undefined, then set error will have a copy of the error state and inside the key will pass the true value. If has error, then just return. So in this function, that is inside handle submit, I have first passed the initial error state to the set error. That means the error values are now false. Then through the help of the keys, I have mapped through the error according with the data send variable, that is data send state. I have passed through it and check whether if any of the data send field is empty or undefined. If it's empty or undefined, then the set error state will consist that error of that field and will pass the boolean value true for that particular field. And it has turned the has error to true. This variable turns to true, and outside this function I have checked if there is has error, that means the variable has error is true, then it will return. There will be no submit after clicking the button also. Until and unless all the fields are filled up, there will be no submission. So this is the form validation without any third-party library. We have done just using the state values and a normal JavaScript function. Here, let me console.log the value of data send. Let me save it. Now let us check the form. Now have opened the form here along with the inspect for the console.log. You need to see first I'm going to check the error state. If I click the submit button here, you can see here the first error message, that is please write your message. So let me write something. Well, the error state is gone. Now with the two empty fields, I still want to submit here. You cannot submit or there is nothing in console.log until and unless you fill the email field. So let me write something. We'll check the value, that is the regex that I have used. You can see here a message. Please write the valid email is here. I want to move to the next one field. You can still see the error of the email is present as it is not a valid email. So let us correct the email first. The email pattern should be like this. Should be an @ and a .com. You can see the email pattern is now correct and the error state is gone. Now the full name error state is still there. So let me write down my name here. Now all the fields are fulfilled and there is no error state. Now if I click the submit button, you can see here the console.log of the data that I'm sending is present and the form is up till now working correctly. So now let's make the API. Now here to create the API, go to the hello.ts. You can see the Next has already created an sample of the API. I want to change the name of this file to contact.ts. Here with this data, I'm going to remove this response because I'll have some other response. I want to apply here a try and catch block. To check the clause and also catch the error. Now inside the try block, I want to write let db. The MongoDB will define after writing the API that db is equal to await. This will be a connection to MongoDB, which will define after writing this. This is connection, connect to database function. We'll make this. Next, I want to call let body. Can write body object equal to JSON dot parse request.body. Here, the request.body will consist the data send state object that we have in the index page. So, next will be let new post, taking a variable, will be equal to await db.collection with the name of contact. Need to create a new entry. So the function we'll use is insert one and will pass the body object. The new post variable is actually creating the new post inside the Mongo database. Here I want to write the console.log for new post. And then want to pass the response after the creation, that is res.status 200.json. Want to pass a message if it is created successfully, then want to pass your details submitted successfully. These are some of the errors that are coming, well, as we have not still now not created the Mongo file. So after creation, this error will be gone. Let me first write the catch block. That is, if it finds out an error, that means if it's failed to create a new entry, then it should give a response.status 400.json with the message of something went wrong. Here, for the type data that is present in the response, you can see here Next API response data. Also want to include here undefined. Now, for the Mongo database, let us create a new folder that is libs. Inside the libs, let me create the Mongo file that is mongo.ts. Before writing the code of Mongo file, I want to install a library that is MongoDB. I'm using Yarn, so Yarn add MongoDB. Now this package is required for using Mongo and Next. So I'll import first. Import. You can see the package is already installed here. So let us import Mongo client from MongoDB. Next, we'll create a variable that is MongoDB URI. This will collect its data from process.env.mongoURI. The env file will create a little bit later. First, let me write down the Mongo file code. Next, we'll write the another variable that is const MongoDB name, that is Mongo database name, which will be equal to process.env.name. After defining these two variables, we'll now check the MongoDB URI. Here, if the URI is connected to the Mongo Atlas, we'll be using here MongoDB Atlas, then we'll show a message. If it's not connected, then we'll throw an error. So let's write down the condition first. If not Mongo URI, then throw new error. Define the MongoDB URI env variable. After checking the MongoDB URI, we'll next check the Mongo database name. That is check MongoDB name. Condition will be if not MongoDB name, then throw new error. Define the MongoDB database env variable. Now you can just copy this one, write it. So these variables are missing, so it will throw an error if it's not available. Next, we'll store the URI in our cache memory so that it doesn't need to be called at particular intervals. With a type definition and the value to null. Assigned value is null in the initial state, and the next will be the DB name, the caching, that the data we are caching, that's the DB name. We also with the any type, default value is null. Now we'll write the function that is connect to database. Export the sync function connect to database. So first we'll check cache. If cache client and cache DB is present, then we'll return the client and the DB. That is, it will get loaded from the cache memory. Here, let me write load from cache. So we'll return client will be cache client and DB will be cache DB. Next, we'll set up the connection options, that is set connection options. So I'll write here const options, define a type that like any. Here inside the object we'll write use new URL parser. And we'll assign a true value, and we'll also write use unified topology. Also will assign a true value. After that, we'll connect with the cluster, that is the MongoDB Atlas cluster. This will be connect to cluster part. Let's write let client is equal to new Mongo client, passing the MongoDB URI and options. Here I'll put an important and this error will be gone. Next, we'll pass await client.connect. In a variable db, I'll take client.db and pass the MongoDB name. We'll set the cache here. Here in cache client, pass the client after calling from the DB, and next cache DB. I'll assign value. Now from this function, I'll return client, cache client, and DB cache DB. Now our Mongo file is almost completed. I hope you have understood how to connect the file. We'll write the process.env file. Before that, let me first correct the errors of the API. That is, for connect to database, I want to import it from libs. I want to write here an async, which I have missed. And for this error, there is a mistake inside the data. It has to be the name of message. Now you can see there is no more error in the Mongo file. All is done. Now let's go and create the Mongo URL in the env file. First, here we'll create .env .env file. Here, I want to copy the variables that I have described that Mongo file, that is MongoDB URI. Paste it here. Next, we'll copy the name. Now the DB name I want to give here is contact. For the MongoDB URI, we have to go to the MongoDB Atlas. This is the MongoDB Atlas. I have already signed in here. If you are a new user, to sign in with your GitHub ID or your Google or your email, whatever you choose. Here, first you have to create a project. Now I want to give the project name as Next.js contact. Click on Next and then create project. Now project is created. We have to create a database inside. First, I need to give the network access here. For the IP address, I want to allow access from anywhere. I set it, allow access from anywhere. The IP address is set. Next, I want to create a cluster, that is the database. So to build a database, I need to choose a plan from here. I'll go with the free plan. And here with the cluster name, let it be cluster 0, the free plan. I'll click on create and want to give a username. Let me give Annie. Auto generate a secure password and create the user, and it's done. So I'll click finish and close. You can see our cluster is built. Build is complete. Now, if I go to the browse collection here, you'll see zero collection and database. I want to create the connect. So here we'll connect our application. You can see this is the connection link with the MongoDB. We'll copy it and we'll paste it in the MongoDB URI. Inside the string quotes, we'll paste this URI. This is the password which you have to, that the password we have auto generated. You have to paste that here, removing this password. So I'll paste my password. When you create yours, do paste it. And next, I'll do the code of the index page. So after pasting the password, I have come to the index page. Here, let's remove this console.log data send, because now we are going to send the data to our API that we have built in this Mongo file, the Mongo connection, and this is the API that we have built. So let's go to index page and remove this console.log. Here, I want to first write a set status. I want to give it a true, because when I will click the button, that is when I'm clicking the submit button, I want to show the sending until and unless there is the result, that is the error result or the successful result comes. So I want to show that sending word. So I have here, I change the Boolean value to true. Next, I will call the API in the variable response. So const response equal to await. We'll use the fetch function. You can opt to Axios, but for this project, I have used this fetch function. I'll fetch the API, that is /API /contact. You can see it's inside the API. It's the contact page name. So I have write down the path there. And after fetching, we'll pass an object which will define its method. That is, method is post, the post request, and we'll send a body there that will be JSON.stringify, and the value will be data sent. So we have called our API and we have sent our object data from the form data, you can say exactly. So here, in a variable called const data, I want to call the response.json. Now in the data variable, I want to get this message that I have written inside the API, that whenever the a post is inserted inside the MongoDB, the return of the message will be your details submitted successfully. If there is an error, so something went wrong. So this message I want to fetch in this response.json, that is inside the data variable. After fetching, I want to pass the data to set result, that is data.fetch. Next, I want to pass some set, that is want to change some state variables, that is set success. I want it to be true. Set status, I want it to be false. Set status, this data state variable is used when I am sending the data. So when I have received the response, I'll change that to false. That is, set status is false. And set success, I have changed to true, that whenever I have received the data here, I want to show the success message. That is the result here. So I have changed it to true. So now let's save it. Also, I want to add something, that is send, set data send. I want to change it to the initial contact state. That is, after sending the data, the input fields will go back to its default state. So this one, and set error state if it has any. I also want to pass it to its initial state. So let's save it and let's check whether our data is getting stored in MongoDB or not. So in the contact form, let me first write my name, Annie. Let me write the email here and a message, something, testing. Now let's submit it. So 1, 2, and 3. You can see here the sending message. That means the data is sending to the Mongo. You can see the result has come here, your details submitted successfully. And also you can see the input fields data has returned back to its initial state, that is, no data is present here. So let's check the Mongo database whether our data got stored here or not. We'll go to browse collections, and inside it you can see a contact name database is created, and here is our data. Inside the MongoDB, the full name, email, and the message that I have sent just now is got stored here inside the DB. Now, a small thing I want to change, that is, after some time, I don't want this message to be remain here. I want a timer function, that is, after showing this submit successfully, it will return back to the original contact form. So let's do that small delay function quickly. The index page, after this response, I want to create a delay function, that is const delay is equal to, want to take a timing, that is millisecond. Also the type will be number, and we'll write an arrow function with returning a new promise. Here resolve, we'll call out the set timeout resolve and pass the millisecond here. This is not the one. I guess the delay function is done. Yeah, this is the delay function here. You have to call this function, so I'll call after the set error. I want to call the delay function and want a delay of 7 milliseconds, so 7,000. And after that, I want to pass the set success, the false argument. You can see here, when success is true, then only the result is shown. So after a delay of 7 milliseconds, I don't want to show the result anymore. So I have passed the false in set success. So let's save it and let's check the form again. Let me refresh it once. Now for full name, I'll write John Doe. For email, I want to write John at 12.com. For message, I want to write a test post. Let's click the submit. You can see the sending here. And all the details is submitted successfully. Let's see if the detailed message goes off. And here you can see with the imply of the delay function, the message is gone and the form is now back to its old state. Let's check out the Mongo database. We'll refresh it. And here you can see our latest post, that is John Doe, John at 12.com, a test post. So this is the full stack contact form that I have built today. Also, this contact form is fully responsive. If I go to its mobile view, that is here, you can see the contact form is fully responsive. So do comment down below if you have any doubts or how much you have liked the video. Till then, this is Annie signing off. Let's meet in another new project, and for this project, the GitHub link will be provided in the description.